Imagine looking at your bank account on a Friday morning. The digits have finally rolled over. The sweat, the stress, the late nights of the last 2 weeks, they have finally been converted into a number on a screen. For a fleeting moment, you feel a surge of relief. You feel safe. But then, the invisible countdown begins. The rent or mortgage clears. The electric bill hits. The subscription services nibble away at the edges. You buy groceries, fill up the gas tank, maybe treat yourself to one decent dinner because, after all, you worked hard for this. And just like that, within 48 hours, that comforting balance crumbles. The safety evaporates. You are left staring at the remnants, wondering how a cycle that repeats 26 times a year can leave you feeling so completely powerless. This is the payday trap. It is a psychological loop designed to keep you running on a treadmill that never stops moving. Most people think they have an income problem, but the brutal reality is that they have a framework problem. They treat payday as a moment of release rather than a moment of execution. Warren Buffett famously said, "Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving." It sounds simple, almost deceptively so, but in a world engineered to extract every single dollar from your pocket the second you receive it, executing that rule requires something deeper than willpower. It requires a system. If you're tired of watching your hard work dissolve into the ether every single month, hit the subscribe button right now. Together, we're breaking down the hidden psychological machinery of wealth creation, peeling back the layers of consumer culture, and building a bulletproof system that turns your salary into permanent freedom. Let us introduce someone you probably know very well. Meet Marcus. Marcus is 32 years old, ambitious, smart, and works a demanding corporate job in the heart of the city. He makes $85,000 a year, which works out to roughly $5,300 a month after taxes and deductions. By all traditional metrics, Marcus is doing well. He is in the top tier of earners worldwide, yet every single month, Marcus feels an underlying, persistent current of anxiety. He feels like he is drowning in plain sight. He looks at his life and realizes that, despite his respectable salary, his net worth is barely moving. He's trapped in a loop of reactive financing. He pays whatever bill screams the loudest, spends what he thinks he can afford, and promises himself that whatever is left at the end of the month will go into savings. But, as Morgan Housel notes in The Psychology of Money, doing well with money has a little to do with how smart you are and a lot to do with how you behave. Marcus's behavior is not inherently bad, it's just human. When he gets paid, his brain receives a massive spike of dopamine. The scarcity of the last 2 weeks is replaced by temporary abundance, and in that state of artificial abundance, his brain makes terrible long-term decisions. He looks at his $2,000 checking account balance and thinks, "I can afford a $70 dinner." What he fails to see is that 60% of that balance is already spoken for by bills that just haven't cleared yet. He is playing a game of financial blindsman's buff, and the house always wins. Let us look at the cold, hard mathematics of Marcus's routine versus what we call the elite payday architecture. Out of his $5,300, Marcus's fixed costs, his rent, car payment, insurance, utilities, and minimum debt payments, amount to $3,200. That leaves him with $2,100. Marcus assumes this means he has $2,100 of disposable income, so he spends. He spends on groceries, clothes, weekend trips, and convenience. By day 12 of the pay cycle, he looks at his account and realizes he only has $200 left. Panic sets in. He freezes his spending, lives like a monk for 3 days, gets paid again, and repeats the cycle. At the end of the year, Johnny has saved less than $2,000. He has traded 2,000 hours of his life for a net gain of $2,000. That is a horrific return on investment.
Now let us re-engineer Marcus's entire reality using a proactive algorithmic payday routine. This is the exact sequence you need to execute the moment the money lands in your account before you buy a single cup of coffee or pay a single discretionary bill. We call it the 5-filter vault. Filter number 1 is the immediate firewall. The second Marcus's $5,300 hits his checking account, an automated transfer moves exactly 10%, $530, out of the bank entirely, not into a traditional savings account at the same institution where he can easily swipe and transfer it back, but into a completely separate, high-yield savings account at a different bank. This is what Robert Kiyosaki refers to as paying yourself first. If you treat your savings as an optional leftover, you will never have leftovers. By making it an automated, non-negotiable tax on your own income, you force your lifestyle to adapt to the remaining 90%. You never miss the money because your brain never registers it as available to spend.
Filter number 2 is the debt dissolution mechanism. Marcus carries $6,000 in high-interest credit card debt, costing him roughly $120 a month just in interest. Under his old routine, he paid the minimum balance of $150. Under the new routine, we identify his toxic liabilities immediately. He automates a $300 payment every payday. By doubling down on the principal right out of the gate, he truncates the lifespan of that debt from decades to a matter of months, saving thousands of dollars in interest that would have otherwise gone into the pockets of banking executives. Filter number 3 is the fixed escrow allocation. This is where most people fail. They leave their bill money in their primary checking account, mixing it with their fun money. Marcus opens a second checking account strictly for fixed expenses. The moment he gets paid, $3,200 is automatically routed to this account. All his automated bill payments, rent checks, and utility drafts are linked exclusively to this secondary account. What remains in his primary checking account is now purely discretionary. He no longer has to do mental math at the grocery store or the restaurant. If the primary account says $400, he has $400. The bills are already fully funded and cordoned off behind a digital wall. Filter number 4 is the wealth acceleration engine. Once Marcus's emergency fund hits a baseline of 3 months of expenses, his 10% lifestyle tax shifts from a high-yield savings account into low-cost index funds and income-producing assets. If Marcus consistently invests $530 a month into a broad market index fund, compounding at an average annual return of 8%, the math becomes staggering. Over 10 years, his principal investment of $63,600 balloons into nearly $100,000. Over 25 years, that modest 10% allocation turns into over $450,000. He is no longer working for money, his money is working for him, day and night, quietly compounding while he sleeps.
Charlie Munger once remarked that the first $100,000 is a killer, but you have to do it. I don't care what you have to do. If it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that isn't bought with a coupon, find a way to get your hands on $100,000. The reason Munger emphasized this so fiercely is because of the sheer physics of compounding. When you have $10,000 earning 8%, you make $800 a year. It feels insignificant. But when you have $100,000 earning 8%, you make $8,000 a year without lifting a finger. That is when the game changes. That is when you realize that your salary is not wealth. It is merely the raw material used to build wealth. The ultimate trap of modern consumerism is that it convinces us to buy things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't like. We trade our time, the only truly non-renewable resource we possess, for depreciating plastic and temporary status symbols. When Marcus buys a luxury car he cannot truly afford, he isn't just signing up for a $600 monthly payment. He is signing up to give away $600 worth of his freedom every single month for the next 7 years. He is choosing to stay chained to his desk longer just to look rich to strangers at a red light. Changing your payday routine is not about deprivation. It is about ultimate alignment. It is about realizing that saying no to a temporary luxury today is saying an absolute resounding yes to your future independence. When you master your payday, you master your time. You transition from a passive victim of the economic landscape to an active architect of your own destiny. Marcus implemented this system, and within 6 months, the cloud of anxiety lifted. His debt vanished, his investments began to grow. He didn't change his job, and he didn't get a massive raise. He simply changed his routine. Tonight, when you look at your financial life, ask yourself one honest question. Is your income building your dreams, or is it building someone else's? The next time that notification pops up on your phone telling you that your paycheck has deposited, do not celebrate by spending. Pause, breathe, take control, execute the filters, pay yourself first, isolate your expenses, and invest in your freedom. Your future self is relying on the decisions you make in the next 24 hours. Leave a comment below letting me know the very first change you are going to make to your payday routine this week, and let us build something permanent together.